Basketball is over, and we are finally talking about football again.
There goes Davis! Oh my God! Davis is going running all the way back! Auburn's going to win the football game!
Hello, and welcome to this episode of War Eagle Weekly. How we doing, Josh?
Doing good. Just tired, but I'm doing good. I'm hearing more and more about football, and I'm here for it.
Heck yes. Aren't we all? It feels like it has been forever since we last talked. The last time we did this episode, I don't know if you wanted to talk about it because I don't think I wanted to. The championship game was going on. I'm feeling a lot better right now. The season's over. That's behind me. I still won't talk about that game. But either way, we're moving on to spring football. But Josh, before we jump in to this week's episode, remind everybody, we want you to use our affiliate link below if you are looking for some new Auburn gear. If you are looking to commemorate, I butchered that word, our 2024-25 basketball season with a Final Four appearance, use our affiliate link below. Go to fanatics.com, get that gear. I'm waiting for my stuff to come in. Probably not going to wear it. It's kind of a keepsake. I have a shirt from the last time we were there, but please, if you use our affiliate link, it helps us out a little bit. Josh, let's dive right into this week's episode because we had spring ball, spring practices and spring scrimmage practice-ish thing, A-Day, that was going on. So, okay, what is some of the news that came out of the spring practices that we were paying attention to while the basketball season was going on?
That Deuce Knight is actually giving Jackson Arnold a run for his friggin' money. That's what we want to hear from our five-star signee.
Yes, no, 100%. Not only that, but you hear Jackson Arnold is looking good. Early on in the spring practices, I know I sent you a video of what looked like Jackson Arnold just throwing a dime to Cam Coleman in the end zone. And it was such a quick clip that a lot of the comments were like, oh, well, hopefully the offensive line can protect him. And I'm sorry, with how quickly he threw that downfield and how quickly Cam Coleman got downfield, offensive line don't have to block that long for that to work.
No, I mean, he got that out of there so quickly. It was almost impossible for the defense and defensive line to even adjust to that throw downfield. And it was where Cam Coleman could get it. Cam Coleman went up and got it, and just they both made it look so effortless and so good. Hopefully they can carry on into game day.
Yeah, hopefully he's building rapport with him. Both quarterbacks seem to be building rapport with all the wide receivers, which the freshman Sam Turner, talk about turning heads. That dude had some good catches in the A-Day scrimmage that we saw video on, as well as in the spring practice.
To be honest with you, I've seen like 2 clips from the open practice. I haven't seen a whole lot. I saw Perry Thompson laying out to catch a ball. I've seen Perry Thompson catching a touchdown from Deuce Knight, and I saw Damari Alston hitting a couple of holes. That's about all I've seen from that scrimmage.
Yeah. My big thing is like I've had a complaint about Peyton Thorne these last 2 years, just like every other Auburn fan, and he just didn't have the arm strength. You can't say that about these 2 quarterbacks. You can't say about anything negative about this wide receiver core. It seems like we have 5 or 6 wide receivers out there. You're hearing nothing but great things about Perry Thompson, like you said, and you're hearing nothing but great things about Eric Singleton. Everyone's talking about how they're using him on jet sweeps instead of Malcolm Simmons. Honestly, though, Josh, what wide receiver isn't having a good camp is the question.
I don't think I've heard of a single receiver that's having a bad camp. I mean, like we discussed earlier, we hear Perry Thompson's name. We definitely hear Cam Coleman's name. We're hearing so much about Sam Turner. I think the only receiver I haven't really heard a lot about would be Bryce Kane. And I've only heard Malcolm Simmons' name a couple of times. Other than that, it seems like everybody is getting equal reps, equal opportunities, and they're all coming together and just showing out. I think I've heard the most praise about Perry Thompson's development, though.
Yeah, even Hugh Freeze talked about it in his couple of press conferences, as well as after the A-Day game scrimmage thing that happened. Talked about how some of his wide receivers at Ole Miss had to redshirt, and they made changes. They learned from the experience. Now, Perry Thompson didn't redshirt last year. He didn't want to take that red shirt, but it does seem like he's still learning and is open to the coaching that this coaching staff is giving him. It's virtually unheard of for a receiver as touted, or a player in that fact, that it was highly as touted as Perry Thompson, to not get as much playing time, but still stay committed and still stay dedicated to this coaching staff and doing what they're telling him to do. And obviously he is improving. So I can't wait to see what he is able to do, because like you said, we really didn't get to see much about the A-Day game, and nothing was televised for the first time in my recollection. And so it's one of those things where it's exciting. We actually have receivers on the Plains, and we also have quarterbacks that can get the ball to the receiver. You mentioned it earlier about how good of a camp both quarterbacks were having. So is there a quarterback competition, you think? Or is this just, spring? There's always that one player in spring that everyone's hyping up.
Part of me wants to say it's just smoke, because it's a 5-star quarterback that we had signed, and we went out and got $1 million quarterback in Jackson Arnold. So I really want to say it's just smoke right now. But at the same time, I'm like, well, Deuce Knight is a 5-star quarterback. Mm-hmm. Jackson Arnold was a 5-star quarterback. Maybe there could be a legitimate battle between the two, and we really don't know who the starter is going to be. Like even Eric Singleton said that he doesn't know who the starter is going to be. They're both playing with the ones, they're both playing with the twos, and they're both getting the ball out. Now, I do know that Deuce Knight did throw a very Peyton Thorne-esque interception in the spring scrimmage. I did see that clip, but he's a freshman. That's what spring is for,
exactly,
to get those kinks out. So I'm still going to put my money on Jackson Arnold starting over Deuce Knight, but at the end of the day, who friggin' knows when you're not part of that coaching staff?
That's true. And this coaching staff, they have proven that if it's their quarterback that they brought in and it's their quarterback that they want, they stick to them come hell or high water. We just don't know which one right now is that person come hell or high water. We've heard nothing but praise about our 5-star quarterback, Deuce Knight, but yet at the same time, we haven't heard anything bad about Arnold. And so, is in my book, when it comes to quarterback in springtime, if you don't hear anything, I feel like it's good, right?
Oh yeah, I would agree, but at the same time, like, give it to me straight. Just tell me what's going on. Tell me who's screwing up. Tell me who's doing everything right. I want to be prepared rather than what we had to endure the last 2 years.
Yeah. So I agree 100%. As long as we have a competent quarterback that can run the offense and go through progressions, that makes a world of difference, because I'm just so sick and tired of mediocre to bad quarterback play. We haven't even had good quarterback play in what seems like 4 years.
It's been a damn minute,
3.
that's for sure. I think Bo Nix was the last quarterback that I actually was really excited about. So it's been an actual minute, and I'm really hoping Jackson Arnold shows us what he showed the world the second half of the season last season. So I'm really hoping that's the Jackson Arnold we get, and we all know that we have more wide receiver weapons than Oklahoma did.
Yeah, and a better offensive line.
Yeah.
Speaking of wide receivers and an offensive line, what positions had the strongest spring? Obviously, wide receiver is one that I would talk about, but you also hear about the amazing defensive back play and the defensive back room.
I was going to talk about the safeties, because it sounds like Antoine Fagans and Eric Winters are just tearing it up. I mean, they
much so that Terrence Love is transferring. Entered the
Terrence
portal.
Love, J.C. Hart, and there was one other that.
Oh,
there was 3 DBs that entered the transfer portal in the past couple of days.
Okay.
I can't remember who the third one was off the top of my head. Let me see if I can find it. But yeah, it sounds like those 2 freshmen are coming in and giving them what for, and making people nervous that already had jobs in that backfield.
And I'm pretty sure it was Eric Winters that got the first Deuce Knight interception of the spring. Who was it?
Safety CJ Johnson was the 3rd DB to enter the portal. So we had 3 safeties enter the portal.
So
don't be rude.
I don't. I just don't. Okay. I mean, they've been recruiting defensive backs so heavily that I just don't know.
They better not stop.
Is back there. Right. You can't. And the thing is they need to bring in 3 safeties to replace these guys because we don't have endless depth.
Well, you know what? It's funny that you actually mentioned that. I don't know if you remember the recruitment of Zaquan Robinson, the safety that committed to Miami over Auburn.
Yeah.
He just entered the portal.
Okay.
He was a huge Auburn target, and everyone thought it was going to be Auburn before he chose Miami. So there's a big possibility he could commit to Auburn.
Okay. Well, I'm all for it. I really am. I'm all for it. So outside of that, we heard good things about the defensive line, and I'm including your pass rushers in that. There were players that have stepped up, and the coaching staff, obviously, and rumors are that they feel a lot more comfortable where we are along the defensive line, at least in the 2 deep, maybe not more than that. And they'll probably end up looking to add some more depth pieces to help out to make sure that we can just rotate as many guys as possible. But honestly, a lot of positions have had strong springs. We haven't heard much about offensive line, which again is like I feel like with quarterback, the less you hear about them, probably the better it is. And that's without our starting right tackle and without our starting center, who both could be playing in the NFL next year.
I was going to say that I heard that Connor Lew is dealing with a nagging, tiny minor injury. That's not really even an injury; it's more of a precaution. But the only real position I haven't heard much of anything about, I don't know if this is good or bad, is the running back room. I haven't heard. Yeah. Well, the only thing I've heard about the running back room is that what's his face, the freshman, brain fart.
Gentry? Not Gentry. Gentry. What is his name? The
dude that was committed to Penn State and committed.
Oh, Alvin Henderson. Sorry, yeah, I thought you were talking about the 3-star that reclassified.
No, I had a brain fart and could not think of his name. And it sounds like he is having a very good spring and things are coming along very nicely for him. I've heard his name more than I heard of Cobb's and Alston's.
Well, that's interesting. I mean, the thing is it's probably going to be a running back by committee. They're probably not going to have one running back that really stands out. If Alston can stop fumbling the ball, I think he could have a breakout season. I really do. And I want him to because the guy has stuck around through thick and thin. And there have been some real shitty moments since he's been here on the Plains. And him surviving the Brian Harsin era is, credit enough to the guy. So hopefully he has his breakout year because I want him to. I really do. So now, Josh, I added this last topic at the last minute because it is I am glued to any college football analyst that is talking about this subject. So for those that may have not heard, which I would imagine if you're watching this show, you probably have heard.
If you're not living under a rock, you've heard.
Right. Tennessee's quarterback, 5-star quarterback, Nico Emiliava. I butchered it. I know I did. You were waiting for it. Go ahead and tell the people how to really say his name.
Well, I'm brain farting right now. It's Iamaleava.
Yeah.
Iamaleava.
There we go, folks. There we go. He dating back to December. Josh Pate was talking about it today, how him along with other players were trying to get more money from their teams because they were in the playoffs. Okay, so this started then. And he goes and he wants a raise from his $2 million that he was going to get this year to $4 million. And so much so that he ends up skipping practice Friday morning, the day before Tennessee's 8A game. And then come Saturday morning, Tennessee announces that they are parting ways with Nico, and Nico is reportedly going to be entering the transfer portal. My mind was blown because Friday evening, everybody's like, oh, it's not a big deal. It's a little hiccup. It's going to be over quicker than anything else. And it just snowballed, man. I am glued to this. The whatever show is showing this. Absolutely fantastic. I love every minute of it.
I mean, it's comical at the very best. I mean, the dude is he's a top 6 quarterback in the SEC. There's no doubt about that. I mean, but yeah, he's just definitely not worth $4 million. And I know the ticker says, should we be concerned over the whole situation? The only way I would ever be concerned about this kind of situation is if Nico gets what he wants from another team. I think there is another team out there that's going to pay him a slightly higher number than the 2.2 or 2.4, whatever he was on the book for this season. I think there's a team that might pay a little bit more, but there's no way in hell he's going to get close to that $4 million. There just isn't any way.
I hope not. I think we should be worried. I am all for these athletes getting money and getting what's owed to them, but this dude was promised $8 million through his junior year. This was his junior year. At the end of this year, he would have made $8 million from the University of Tennessee. And not only that, but they went to bat for him because of his recruitment being questioned by the NCAA, and they sued the NCAA and won. Okay, and this kid has zero loyalty, zero. And
it's all about the Benjamins for him.
Out there looking like a Sesame Street mother effer with his stupid pajama pants and just looking like a child. He has thrown away his football career, and I hope he doesn't get a significant job anywhere. I really don't. It was reported that Saturday morning, and this is what led Tennessee to the decision to just part ways with him, was Dan Lanning, Oregon's head coach, reaches out to Josh Heupel and says, hey, just so you know, I was contacted about Nico about what we would offer him. And, dude, Josh Heupel, no one is ever bigger than the program. That's something you want all of college coaches to say.
Yeah, dude, Josh Heupel, man, that dude stands on 10 toes, and props to Dan Lanning. The dude's looking out for other coaches, even like in different conferences. I mean, I don't know if that was like a move Dan Lanning was trying to do. I don't know what position he could possibly gain from doing that, but all in all, I think it's just mad props to Dan Lanning for even giving Josh Heupel a heads up about his crappy quarterback and Nico Iamaleava. The kid he's all about the money. He doesn't care about the program he plays for. All he cares about is the money he makes before he gets into the league, and that's if he even gets into the league. I can't think of a reputable school that is going to want to take a shot at him. No. Me, you, and another guy were talking about it in a separate group chat the other day. I really could see a team like SMU taking a run at him. SMU is just desperate to continue their success and to make a name for themselves.
Isn't their quarterback back though?
I have no clue who their quarterback is.
He's still there.
I have no clue. I couldn't tell you. But I could honestly see him landing at a Fresno State or Kennesaw State or Jackson State or hell, whatever school that Shadur Sanders and Travis Hunter came from before they went to Colorado. I could see him landing at one of either way, I could see him landing at one of those crappy dinky schools just to get his name into the 5th or 6th round.
Yeah, it was a big mistake. He got some bad advice. Again, getting back to the question, I think we should be concerned because eventually it feels like this may be the norm. Players holding out, trying to hold the school hostage. And you mentioned something in our group text about how the schools should only be allowed to give them $100,000 or $200,000, and that be the cap. And then all their NIL deals coming from sponsorships, or I would even be okay with a collective. And so you have a little bit less chance of this. But there are just so many people that are trying to get their hands on some of that $20 million that every school is going to have to start handing out. And it's just wrong. And so we have Deuce Knight, who is likely going to sit behind Jackson Arnold. Sorry. Jackson Arnold. Going to sit behind. I know. Is going to have. I was like, wait, that's not our quarterback. Is going to have to likely sit behind Jackson Arnold. And maybe it's a story kind of like Nico's. And who knows? In a couple of years, he's trying to hold us for more money. He doesn't seem like the type. Nico was a drama queen before he ever even stepped foot on Tennessee's campus. But at the same time, I'm concerned because this is where college football and college sports in general look like they're headed to, is athletes holding institutions hostage. And it was not right what the institutions were doing to kids and profiting from their names without them being able to earn a dime. And it's not okay for you to say, okay, that sounds good, and committing to it, and then saying, oh, you know what? I'm actually not going to show up for practice. I'm going to shop around now, and I'm going to try to get you to give me more money. It's just not right.
Well, I mean, if these kids are going to do that, they need to implement some of the old recruiting rules that they had, or the old portal rules about tampering. I mean, you can self-tamper, in my opinion, and it sounds like that's what Nico was doing, was self-tampering. He was just trying to leverage Tennessee for more money, and that he was pulling a what's his name at Ole Miss?
Lane Kiffin.
Yeah, he was pulling a Lane Kiffin and trying to leverage more money out of the school he was already at. God, dude, my brain is farting so hard right now. I cannot think. But, I mean, they're going to have to change some of this NIL shit, and I can see those changes coming sooner rather than later. And I really, really, really do believe schools should be capped at $100,000 for a player from the school's money, and everything else coming from sponsorships. Make these players go make money off of their name, image, and likeness rather than just their name. And it sounds like that's what they're trying to do, is just make money off their name. Nico's like, oh, I was a 5-star coming out of high school. You're going to pay me $4 million a year. That's bullshit. Yep. You are not worth that. Yep. No player should be able to bankrupt a program just because they were a 5-star.
No.
Obviously, Tennessee's not going to go bankrupt from $4 million, but for a 19, 20-year-old, that's I don't even know how old he is. How old is he? 18, 19?
He's probably 20, 19, 20.
Either way, he is not worth $4 million a year. Screw that.
Yeah, no, he definitely isn't. His play didn't back it up. And I agree. I mean, after what he did in the Arkansas game, where he runs out of bounds to end regulation and they lose the game because of it, didn't even
$4 million from that. Get out.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's a Peyton Thorne play right there. That's not a 5-star quarterback play. The thing is for every Arch Manning out there who is taking less money his first 2 years at its school, who is sitting behind a starter, who is learning from the coach, who is you would expect a Manning to do. For every one of those, there probably, unfortunately, is 10 of Nico's out there. And so I don't want this to be a quarterback, but any position. No one player, no one position is bigger than the institution. Kudos to you, Josh Heupel. I agree 100%. And I think all Auburn fans and all college football fans should be worried, because somebody is not going to have the stones that Josh Heupel and Tennessee had. That's the issue. That's what we should be worried about.
Again, I just don't see a single coach out there that's going to be willing to give in to this friggin' lunatic's outrageous demands. I just cannot see it. I can only imagine that most coaches, very large majority of the D1 coaches, have the same mindset as Josh Heupel. Tennessee is not short on money. No one's ever claimed Tennessee to be short on money. They could easily afford the $4 million, but they decided to tell him to hit the bricks and move on. And I can't imagine another team caving. I just can't.
Yeah. I mean, Tennessee has been out in front of a lot of schools with paying athletes. I mean, just not so long ago, they were paying athletes out of McDonald's bags. So they're not above paying their players. But, you know, if you agree to something, you should probably stick with the contract you signed. That's all I'm going to say. I think we should end it there because there's just nothing more to say about Nico. So, Josh, before we get out of here, let's remind everybody, use our affiliate link below. Help us out. Go to fanatics.com, use our affiliate link, get some more Auburn gear, get ready for the football season. We got a long summer ahead. We got a lot of fun episodes that are coming up. We're going to be talking every week. Josh, tell the people how they can get our content.
Yeah, you can find us on X, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, everywhere. Dude, I cannot think. I am out of it right now. You can find us on the internet.
All good, all good. Josh, War Eagle.
War Damn Eagle.
There goes Davis. Oh, my God. Davis is going running all the way back. Auburn's going to win the football game.